Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Spoop. But today's a little different. Today, I'm going to step on Brian's toes, and I'm going to talk about a book. Specifically, The Haunting by Shirley Jackson. This may be a new feature for me. I don't know. If it is, I will not be doing anything H.P. Lovecraft, Clive Barker, or Ray Bradbury, because those are all very much in Brian's wheelhouse. However, I may do some other books. For those who don't know, I recently moved, and I have approximately an hour and a half to 2 hour commute every day to and from work, which means I have a lot of time to listen to audiobooks. So we may start to see some more book reviews from me. They're not going to be in-depth way I do my movie reviews. These are going to be more just like a general, like, did I like it? Why or why not? What the book's about. And we're going to start with a book that I was extremely excited about, which is The Haunting by Shirley Jackson. The Haunting is a very well-known, very famous piece of horror literature. It has inspired 2 movies and a television series, as well as been partial inspiration for a lot of other things. Stephen King said that Rose Red was very strongly influenced by this book, and if you read the book, after having seen Rose Red, you can definitely see it. So, how was it? What is it? The Haunting is a story about a house called Hill House. It is not on a hill. It is nestled between hills, and it's called Hill House. And it's this massive, sprawling, ugly piece of architecture that's just confusing on the inside. It's like a maze, and it may or may not be haunted. There's rumors that it is. Nobody's been able to stay in there for longer than a couple of months before they're just like, I need my deposit back. I'm outie, right? The plot follows a doctor who is a psychologist, and is interested in the paranormal. And he wants to write a book about whether or not ghosts are real. He decides the best way to do this is to enlist the assistance of people who have middling possible psychic abilities. And thus, he hires on Eleanor and Theodora. Additionally, they're joined by another character named Luke, who is the future owner of the house. So essentially, when Dr. Montague went to rent the house, the agreement that he made with the current owner is that one of her family members would be there as well. So that's it. For the most part, the story follows Eleanor's point of view, also known as Nell, and it does jump a little bit from other point of views a little, but for the most part, it follows Nell. And Nell grew up with a terrible mother that she had to take care of because her sister was also terrible. Her mother died, and now she lives with her sister, and she's really just looking for an escape. And that's why she agreed to do this. And apparently, back when she was super young, she had some weird psychic phenomena happen, which is why Dr. Montague brought her in. Theodora is an empath. She can kind of sense people's emotions and sometimes pull thoughts. And initially, everybody's getting along really well. And then spooky things start happening essentially the second day. Just there's loud rappings, there's doors never stay open, they shut themselves, windows do the same thing, and they have like an overall sense of just creepy foreboding. That's really about it. So how is the book? I may be influenced by the narrator who read it. I did not enjoy this book as much as I had hoped I would. There is a lot of monologuing and just a lot of dialogue that's just people going off. That nobody talks like this, but they will just go and say things forever. And none of the characters are likable, which I think is on purpose. You're not supposed to like any of these characters. Dr. Montague is probably the closest one, but Luke is just a dickhead, and he's from a rich family, and he's a jerk. Theodora is she's super self absorbed, and even though her and Nell are supposed to be friends, anytime anything happens that brings attention away from Nell, she freaks out. Eleanor is just a very weak individual. She has no backbone. She's very easily manipulated. And yeah, and then they bring in Dr. Montague's wife, who is just a raging bitch. None of the characters are likable, which I think is on purpose, and I appreciate that. But because none of the characters are likable, they tend to just wax on. And it gets really boring to just listen to Luke talk for 10 minutes about how much he hates how motherly the house is. So it wasn't great, and I was a little disappointed. That might be because I've seen The Haunting, and I've seen A Haunting of Hill House, which was inspired by The Haunting by Mike Flanagan, which is a phenomenal television series. And that may have colored my view because those movies are both very climatic. This book is not climatic. It very abruptly ends, which is on purpose. That's kind of how Shirley Jackson writes. But I think I went into it with too high of expectations, and they were not met. Um, so overall, was it a good read? Yeah, it filled up my time, but was it good? In my opinion, no. But again, I may be jaded due to having seen the phenomenal show that is The Haunting of Hill House, and maybe upon like further reflection, I might find myself having really enjoyed this movie. I don't know. But yeah, that's my take on The Haunting. If you have any thoughts, comments that you would like to post, please do. I will gladly read them and I will gladly engage you in conversation about them. And if you got the time and the inclination, think about subscribing. We are trying to get 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're about 80 shy of that. So we're close, and you could help us. And if you want to subscribe, you may also want to join the community and support us for $1.99 a month. It's up to you, though. I'm not going to judge you. Okay, thanks. Bye.